Copwatch, policing the police every single day.
Well, records request for Copwatch.
Okay.
So how's the new police chief doing? Good? Better?
Yeah, seems to be fine.
Very good.
He's busy right now. We see him here and there, but
Right.
he's on his plate.
Well, so does that mean we're going to finally get rid of the dogs? I heard you're going to get body cameras, eh?
Again, I'm not sure.
All right.
I've heard talk of it, but I don't know.
All right. I hope so. We need them. We want better video when your dog's eating the guy. You know what I mean? It makes the lawsuit so much better. All right.
This is Inspector Mike Koval of the Northport Police Department. Today's date is June 13th of the year 2018, and the time is approximately 8:30 a.m. This is a tape sworn statement taking place in the administrative conference room of the Northport Police Department in reference to IA case number 2018-02 and will be the tape sworn testimony of Record Supervisor Trish Lynch. As a law enforcement officer and notary public in the state of Florida, I have the authority to place people under oath and take testimony from them. So I'd ask you to raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
For the record, would you state your name?
Tricia Rose Lynch.
And how are you employed?
I am the record supervisor for the Northport Police Department.
Were you so employed in May of this year?
Yes, sir.
Had you any prior experience in that capacity with public records before being employed here?
No, sir.
What training have you had for the position?
I have attended public records law training, actually 2 courses of public records law training, and 1 course of retention and destruction training.
Well, as you saw, there has been a complaint that I've been asked to investigate about an incident that occurred with documentation that was sent to Stephanie Gibson of Northport Watch that somehow had gotten unredacted or whatever. Could you tell me what happened and what you know about this?
Yes, sir. I received an email from Stephanie Gibson, also known as City Watch Northport, on May 22nd, 2018. She requested current staffing and what approved positions that are currently being recruited to fill. So on that same day, I forwarded her email to Jennifer Ayers, the business manager, and asked if she was able to assist with the request.
Okay.
You want me to go on?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jen sent me a Word document, and it had approximately 10 columns, I believe, and she had blacked out some information. And what I did is I took her document, her original document, and I redacted undercover officers to ensure that everything was redacted.
Is that the document
Yes,
that you're
sir.
looking at right now?
Yes,
Did that come to you electronically or?
it did. Came into my email inbox.
Okay. So in addition to what was already blacked out, you made sure that there were no identifying any of our undercover officers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. So I took that document and I sent it to the requester, and she sent me, I sent it to her on Thursday, March 24th, told her her request is completed. I attached the document, I provided the exemptions, and she replied back that she wanted it in Excel format. And I told her I wasn't going to change the format, but if she would like, I would check with IT and see if they could convert the Word document into Excel format, because in her email, Ms. Gibson stated that she wanted to, she had I believe a meeting that afternoon with the chief, and she wanted to have her documents prepared regarding her meeting with the chief. So I did check with IT. They said they could not convert the Word document into Excel format. So I let her know, and I sent her an email on Friday, March 25th, and said, I checked with IT and I cannot put it, and the file cannot be put in Excel format. And she sent an email back and said that she knows that Ms. Ayers has used Excel in the past for her documents and wanted it in that format. So I tried to take the Word document, I believe, and black it out with a black Sharpie and some correction tape to try to satisfy her request even further. And she said that, again, she reiterated that she wanted an Excel, and if that was not possible, she wanted it in the native file, which was the Word document file. So I sent it in the Word document. I typed redacted over the undercover officers' names and sent it to her. And I received an email stating that on Wednesday, May 30th, she said the file provided, when opened in Word, exposed all of the names, addresses, and social security numbers of all our officers. So with that, I went back and typed the word redacted over all the exempted information and resent it.
Now, the one you sent to her that you typed the redacted on,
The very last one.
the one before that she said she could open,
Yes, sir.
it also had all the black lines on it?
Yes.
Those are the ones that Jennifer Ayers had placed on it when she sent it to you?
Yes, sir.
Was there anything else about that document that you saw that would lead you to believe that somebody could remove the redaction from it?
No, sir. No.
Have you ever seen anybody able to remove redaction from one of those documents?
No, sir. As a matter of fact, I was a little surprised by her email that said, when opened in Word, it exposed all the information, which didn't appear accurate to me. I assumed that there had to be some kind of manipulation of the document to reveal the information. I even had Reg, the head of our IT department, come down and try to figure out how it was done. So one of the other records technicians showed me how it could be done by removing the black portion of the document.
How did they do that?
Just by highlighting the black portion and clicking on the box. Instead of clicking black, the color black, you click the...
No color.
Right.
And just removed it.
Yes.
Okay, what happened after that? Anything?
After I sent the very last document?
After she let you know that she could see it, and then you went in and typed redacted over everything, then sent that document to her?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I sent that on, I believe it was May 30th was the last time I had sent the final document with the word redacted over all the information, all the exempted information. And that was it. Oh, do you want me to tell you what happened after?
Sure.
Okay. So after I had received her email that afternoon, I had gone home and thought about it and thought there was a serious breach of information, and I needed to let the chief know as soon as possible the next morning that he needed to let everybody know that their information had been breached in case of any case that information got into the wrong hands and anybody could use their information for anything.
Do you have to fill a lot of public records requests in your position?
In my position as supervisor?
Either by approving them or having your staff do them. Do you get a lot of them?
Yes, I would say relatively yes. Yeah.
Do you care to hazard how many?
Daily? I would say I personally fulfill on average 6 to 8 daily. I would say daily we receive maybe, I would say maybe about 5 or 6 via email.
Do you get a lot from Stephanie Gibson?
It varies. It varies. Sometimes it's a lot, and sometimes we don't hear from her for a while.
When you fill these public records requests, are they like hard copies that you pull out of a file and use correction tape or something on, or are they electronic that you use the computer, or is it a combination?
No, I shouldn't say always, but we use Adobe Acrobat to redact information.
And you've never had one of those where anybody removed the redaction?
No, not through Adobe, no.
Okay, let's suppose for an instant, hypothetical situation, I'm a citizen and I want say a big burglary or something that occurred at my house, and I want it as a public record and it's releasable. Take me through the steps of, I've emailed you and asked for this document, what goes on and how do I get it?
If you've emailed us, I kind of disseminate the requests through the various texts, so it depends on who's available to take that request. I'll assign it to somebody, and they'll go ahead and then look at the status of the case, if it's still active, if it's been closed, how you are involved in the case, if there are any people who are DV exempt, if any 911 callers, and if it's something that somebody's waffling on, we'll bounce it off of someone else just to get a second set of eyes on it. If it's something huge, for instance, a stabbing or a murder, we all get together on it if possible so that we can come to the best conclusion. So, for instance, if you were involved and it's an active case, and you wanted email to you, it would be redacted, obviously. If you came in person and we can identify your identity, then it might be redacted a little differently.
How do you decide what gets redacted and what doesn't?
We're governed by Florida public records law.
Okay. So you all decided, you've looked at it, you decided that the information, well, most of it's releasable, so you redact the parts that I'm not permitted to see before that document is given to me.
Yes, and we always redact using an exemption, and we always provide the exemption.
In regard to the document that Jen Eyre sent to you,
Yes, sir.
I see in her statement she thought that you all would scan it into a hard copy and then provide it. Do you ever do that?
Never. I really don't know why excuse me, she assumed I was going to take a document in my inbox, print it out, scan it, and then send it back to my inbox to resend. That seems like several extra steps to take.
Have you, when you say that when you do prepare one of these reports, redaction for public record, it's done by Adobe Acrobat.
Yes, sir.
You've never used Word in the past to do that?
No, sir.
Because my next question would be, how would you prevent somebody from unredacting it?
Well, I know now if I have to keep it in the original format and it's a Word document, I know now to type the word redacted over it and not to use the highlighted function.
So if you type the word redacted over it, they can't go back in and highlight the word redacted and delete it and see what's under it?
I don't think so, as long as it's saved and then resent. If it's saved with the word redacted and we send that particular document.
So you don't have to lock the document or hit protect on any of it?
I'm sure that would be an extra step, but it's very rare that we send out Word documents.
So I'll ask the $1 million question. Did
Okay.
you at any time intentionally send to Stephanie Gibson a document that was either unredacted or that you knew she had the ability to remove the redaction on?
No, sir.
Did you have any conversations with her other than her calling you to tell you that she was able to remove the redaction and see what was on the paper?
She didn't call me. She sent me an email, but that was the only conversation or correspondence, I guess, that we had.
Other than Jen and the chief, have you talked to anybody else? What about Patsy? I understand she's the city's records person.
Right.
Did you have to report it to her?
When Miss Gibson made her request, Patsy was CC'd on all the correspondence. After, so she was aware of what was going on. But after Miss Gibson had sent me an email saying that she was able to view the documents, I received an email, I would say within an hour's time, from another requester asking for all the requests that Ms. Gibson had requested on that particular day. In essence, the requester was looking for that same document.
Do you have any idea how they would have known?
No, sir. I mean,
we could speculate, but
right.
we don't really.
Right, I don't.
So the only person you released that to was Stephanie Gibson.
Yes, sir.
Correct? There's nobody else under that North Port Watch title,
Not that-
other names that you know of.
Not that I'm aware of, no. So it was almost within an hour I received a request, and I did contact Patsy and let her know because the request from this other requester went to me and Patsy. So I immediately contacted Patsy and said, do not release that document. So.
Is there anything else that occurred in this incident that I'm not aware of or I failed to ask you that you think is important?
Not that I'm aware of. It just seemed, I just think I have turned to Jen since I've become supervisor to provide me with documents, and she's been very quick and very efficient in providing me any kind of rosters or personal information. And I just found it odd. I'm not laying any blame, obviously, but I just found it odd that in that situation, she's never redacted anything for me. I've always done the redacting myself, so it seemed like it was, I know she was trying to be helpful, but in the end it turned into not being so helpful. Yeah, it didn't end well.
But have you not had to send other redacted documents, reports to Stephanie Gibson in the past?
Yes.
Did you always type redacted on them, or were they blacked out?
No, as far as I know, everything's been redacted using Adobe.
So this was very unusual for her to try to remove the redaction from. I'm just trying to figure out what would possess her to go in and try to unredact something, since she's been receiving documents from your office all along that have been redacted, and
Right.
this hasn't come up before.
Right, and I was kind of puzzled by her email that said when it was open in Word, everything was able to be seen, and that's not necessarily the case. It's you have to manipulate the document for everything to be seen.
So you tried opening that document in Word, and the redactions were there. Just as if I'd sent that to you, and it was already
the blacked out.
out.
Yes, yeah, I did it myself.
So just opening it in Word did not remove the.
Right, correct. It
Somebody
did not.
had to take certain steps, had to have knowledge of how to use Word enough to be able to go in and undo what was already done.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you want to make a part of this?
No, sir. I think I got it all covered.
Okay. Has everything you told me been the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
That will end this tape statement. It is 8:50 a.m.
Okay, today is June 26, 2018. It's approximately 2:33 p.m. This is in reference to case number, or IA case number 2018-02, Trish Lynch. This is the predetermination hearing. Present is Interim Chief Chris Morales and Trish Lynch, and I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Trish to see if you had a chance to review the final findings of the report.
I did, sir.
And
yes.
if you have anything, other information you'd like to provide to me.
First of all, I was confused as to why the charges were changed. I don't know if you can expand on that.
Sure. So original charge was violation of CGIS rules. I think, is that correct?
No, this is that's the second one. Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. You know, it was in that. There you go. This is the first document.
So release of information shall not give law enforcement information to any person outside criminal justice field concerning official business, Norfolk Police Department principle. The bottom line to this is it wasn't really CGIS information you gave out, law enforcement sensitive information. It was more personal information. So the other charge of neglect, which basically, if you read neglect, is basically you should be mindful of your duties and performances, you know, and basically so the end result was that you knew what you were doing. It's just that you neglected to make sure that the document was secured, the document you were doing, because there was previous attempts that you were making through that request that you were filing within the Chapter 119, but at the end that Word document that you sent was unprotected. So
Right.
it was just a negligent part. That's really it. So that would be the more appropriate for that charge. So either one could have gone, but I feel the other one was more appropriate.
Yeah, and that brings me to my second question, and I don't know if you can really answer this, but to neglect is to, from what I looked up, is to pay little attention to or no attention to, and it wasn't that I gave a document insufficient attention. It was that I was not aware that it was not redacted properly.
Right. Personnel shall be attentive and should be attentive to while performing their job duties. And part of that would be simply just before you send out that document, did we make sure it was protected? And that's really is what it is, Trish.
Okay.
And they're both the same. It's both the same. I mean, but that's you were just, it was a part that you failed to, had you known it would you have stopped it if you known that it was not a protected document?
Of course.
Yeah, so it was just being attentive to the document.
Right, and my second question to you is, I don't understand, and I don't know if you can explain this to me right now, why I was the only person charged when I should never have received that sensitive information to begin with. Jennifer Ayers sent that to me. She thinking I was going to print it, scan it, go back to my computer, and then send it. So, one, I don't know why she would assume that I was going to make an extra effort to protect the document. And two, if she knew that or assumed I was going to take those extra steps, then in reality she knew I wasn't protected herself. So, I mean, I understand I sent the final document out, but I'm not the only guilty party here.
But at the end of the day, Trish, you're the supervisor.
Right.
You're the one that sent it out. The responsibility rests as you as a supervisor of records rests on you. At the end of the day, there's accountability on someone, and the accountability
I
rests.
understand that. I take ownership that I sent it out. But it just seemed like it was like I was the only guilty party, and I was not. I sent her a response on May 24th.
She did.
Stating, I'm sorry, Jennifer Ayers, I sent her a response after she sent me the original document, and I said, redacted and everything. And she never said, no, please lock, no, please print, scan, and then send. So, I just felt like, I understand I'm taking responsibility for it, but I'm not the only guilty party, and that's my view.
Okay.
I'm finished.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And that will be noted. All right. If you don't, do you have any other? Anything else you want to say?
I read her statement that she gave, Jennifer Ayers' statement that she gave, and stating that I'm sometimes frazzled by Ms. Gibson's request, and I'm not. She's just any other requester. She goes in spurts where she does request a lot. But, we have other requesters like that. So, I mean, she doesn't frazzle me. I tried to give her what she's asking for. And I don't know why she assumed I was frazzled. I was frazzled by the situation, which is why I came in early to let you know.
When when you learned about the...
Yeah,
okay.
Right. And just to reiterate, when I found out the information was compromised, I came in early so I could let you know, so that you can let everyone else know that their information was compromised.
And as you know, this is, something like this getting out like that is, at the end, is pretty big. It's a big thing, and it caused a lot of concerns within the department, and just so you know, something of this big you have to understand, has to be looked into, and we have to find out the facts and why, and rightfully so, everyone concerning wanting to know what's going to be done, and I told people, I says, no, it's going to be looked into. At the end of the day, this has to be looked into, because it is big what happened.
It's a breach of information. I
everybody's
information,
and
my information as well.
And I get that, and I know it was a mistake, and I know there was no malicious. I get that, but at the end of the day, it was released. We have to correct it. There's accountability on something like this. So I ask you, you're the chief. How would you handle this with you? What do you feel is appropriate?
If I were in your shoes, a letter of reprimand, knowing that I didn't do it intentionally. But I'm biased, of course. So.
You are, and I understand. And I know that you own this, and I know you accepted it, and I hear your side about other people involvement, but I also have to look at the end of the day, there's someone holding the football who holds that responsibility, regardless how it got there, to ensure before they hit that send button and it goes out that it's protected, with under and covered with under 119 statute regulations and all that. So, and that's where this comes to. But I will take your statements under consideration, and I will let you know my decision here within the next few days. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll go ahead and end this at 12:42 p.m.
This is Inspector Mike Koval, Northport Police Department. Today's date is June the 7th of the year 2018, and the time is approximately 8:15 a.m. This is a taped sworn statement taking place in the Northport Police Department in reference to IA case number 2018-02 and will be the taped sworn testimony of Jennifer Ayers. As a law enforcement officer and notary public in the state of Florida, I have the authority to place people under oath and take testimony from them. So I ask you to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
For the record, would you state your name, please?
Jennifer Lynn Ayers,
And how are you employed?
a business manager for the Northport Police Department.
Were you so employed on May 30th of this year?
Yes, sir.
As you know, I've been tasked by the chief to investigate a breach of security where a redacted document, which wasn't protected, was released to Northport Watch, i.e. Stephanie Gibson, and she was able to counter the redaction and now had possession of personal information of all our employees. Could you tell me what you know about this incident?
Yes, sir. I received an email from Trish Lynch, a record supervisor for Northport Police Department. I don't know the exact dates off the top of my head. It was asking for a document. Did we have a document showing vacancies of all of the vacancies within the Northport Police Department? I went through and I found what I call the AAA roster. It's got everybody's date of birth, social, address, names, ranks, perm IDs, dates of hire, dates in grade for promotion. Wait a minute, sorry. Okay, so I pulled that roster up. I blacked everything out that I knew was private information. I just blacked it out in a Word document. It was a Word document. And I forwarded it to Trish. My thought was that she was going to print it, scan it, and email it to Stephanie. That was my initial thought, and that's what I did. Thought I was helping her out. Trish had called me very upset because the document, I believe she wanted it in a Excel, she being Stephanie Gibson. I think she wanted it in Excel format. Trish called me very upset and said, do you have this in there? And I've already asked Ben to change it through IT. And I said, Trish, you do not have to change it. We do not have it in Excel. We have it in Word. I forwarded it to you, what we have. You don't have to give anything else. And at that point, she, I believe, forwarded it to Miss Gibson. And the next, again, I don't know the dates, of course, but when I walked in, I had come in really early on, I just don't know the dates. I don't know if it was this week or last week. I walked in from Panera. Trish caught me. She ran, hit the door really hard that she was coming out, so I kind of startled me. I looked and she was very upset and said, Jen, I think I'm in trouble. I released this document that you gave me, and now Miss Gibson was able to unredact everything. She saw all the information, and I couldn't sleep last night, and she was visibly shaking and starting to cry. I asked her, I said, did anybody die? No. The answer is no. Is anybody bleeding? No. I said, then we'll get through this. There was mistakes made. We're human. And I said, let's go call the chief. So this was first thing in the morning. We called Interim Chief Morales and told him what happened. And he said, okay, I got this. We're human. We make mistakes, and we will take care of it. And I don't know what what it'll cost me, or what it's going to cost us, kind of thing. But I'll get with the city manager and we'll get on it.
Stephanie Gibson, in her emails that I've been reviewing back and forth with Trish, there were several of some of them kind of scathing emails at that, claims that she has gotten this document in the past from you, and it was sent in Excel format.
I don't recall, off the top of my head, I do not recall. I helped Trish out with a lot of public records requests through the years, or any supervisor down there. But I do not recall specifically giving anything in Excel format. I can't say I didn't, but I've had this document, this particular document has been in Word format since I took over this job in 2001. So to my knowledge, that particular document, now we may have other rosters, but that particular document that I went to, because it shows vacancies on it, which is what she asked for. So that particular document, I do not believe has ever been in Excel.
Okay, so it was provided by you in Word,
Yes.
and you blacked out everything that was not considered a public record, all the personal information.
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, was there any other way that you know of to defeat that redaction once it's sent to somebody else?
No, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about protecting it. I just didn't think about it. I know that if you have it in a Word document, you have to give it in a Word document, which is what I thought I was doing correctly. Hindsight, I will never black out or redact for anybody ever again. I do know how to redact, and now that I think about it, I should have either wiped the columns out, deleted the columns, or printed it and actually blacked it out, but then it wouldn't have been in a format to her again. It would have been a PDF then. So, like I said, I'll let the record supervisor take it from here. I will give her what I know, and then she can redact from here on out. Thought I was helping.
But to the best of your knowledge, when that thing left your computer and went to Trish, it was completely redacted, and it was fine.
It was blacked out with the highlight key up at the top.
Yeah.
I just highlighted what I knew, hit the black, and then sent it. So did I think about somebody unblacking it? No, I didn't think that I just didn't think that would be done. I had it in my head that Trish was going to print it and scan it and forward. But after all this came out, then I'm thinking, no, we have to provide it in a Word document. So I did, like I said, I thought I was helping. I will let her do her job from here on out.
Well, you've attended more than one public records law training since you've been here.
Many.
And part of public records law states that should somebody from the public request a document that you're able to release, and in this case, only part of that document was releasable. Is that correct?
Correct.
That part would have just been
The rank, the perm ID, and their names,
That's
basically,
it.
and their
Everything
date
else-
and service.
Everything else is not a public record. It
Right.
does not have to be released.
It hits the exemptions in Chapter 119.
Also in that chapter, is it not correct that they say that in whatever form you have that document, that's the form that you have to release. You do not have to change the format
Correct.
to suit the requester.
That's correct.
So you submitted it in the proper form.
Yes, I did.
Anything else about this incident that you remember that should be made part of the record that I don't know to ask?
Not that I'm aware of. I believe Trish did her part in good faith. I did my part in good faith. There was nobody trying to do anything wrong. I do know that Trish has been inundated with requests, public records requests, and I know I do know that she said to me, I have all these other people waiting, but Miss Gibson keeps more and more and more. So she doesn't back burner, or I shouldn't say back burner, but she doesn't, it sounds like she doesn't prioritize when number one comes in, she should be dealing with number one. When number two comes in, it sounds like Miss Gibson gets her riled up, kind of, to make her want to just hurry and get this done so she doesn't have to hold on for her. But that's really all I can.
There's a bit of confusion, at least on my part, to understand the new process for records request. I believe that the city clerk is now responsible.
Okay, there was talk yesterday, actually, in the budget hearing with commission in there. They asked Miss Adkins, Patsy Adkins, city clerk, what the process is now. And her and Commander Rick Fitzgerald have been working on a process. We log it here. Every public records request gets logged. Then Commander Fitzgerald sends that over to the city clerk, and she has like a master log, it sounds like. Something has just changed. I don't know if it's under law, state law, or I think she said state law. I'm almost positive she said state law changed. And now the city clerk is responsible for as the records keeper, and that she has to keep a log. She does not have to, we don't have to send like all of our public records requests through her. Like if somebody wants an accident report, we just log it, and they're working on some type of software where we can go in and log it right away. But as of right now, it sounds like they manually log it on a log and then send it to Miss Adkins on a weekly basis.
That's the requests, not the actual documents.
Right, they don't have the documents, it's just the log.
So there was no reason why Trish should have sent these documents that you provided to her, to Patsy, to inspect before they were released to...
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
So she did not violate a chain there?
Not that I'm aware of. What I heard yesterday in this meeting is that every department does their own type of records requests, and they don't have to go through Patsy. They just need to be logged into through Patsy. Logged. That's it.
To the best of your knowledge, this incident, the way it happened, do you see any evidence that this was a criminal violation on the part of Records Supervisor Lynch?
Absolutely not.
We have several policies that sort of cover this until you get into the last few words of the sentence, which changes it. And one of them is to release non-public records material. Okay. So the part that she was releasing would have been covered by public records law, just the names and ranks of the officers, not the stuff that was redacted.
Right.
And the second one was to use it for an unlawful nature. Her submitting it was not an act of unlawfulness in any way.
Right.
Okay.
That's the best of my knowledge.
So to the best of your knowledge, this was just an inadvertent error.
It was a mistake.
Okay. Anything else you can think of?
Not off the top of my head.
Everything you have told me, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
That will end this tape statement. It is 8:25 a.m.
Police use who may want to retaliate against him physically.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Copwatch, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind.